Happy New Year, everybody. We are starting the new year off, the first podcast of 2018 with a sponsor. This episode of the Black Girl Boss Podcast is brought to you by FreshBooks. FreshBooks is a super simple invoicing solution that lets you create and send slick, professional looking invoices in seconds. I personally use FreshBooks in my business to send invoices to my clients, to send recurring invoices to monthly clients. I use it to track my expenses. I actually switched over from using QuickBooks to using FreshBooks. And to be honest, that not just because they're a sponsor, but I truly love FreshBooks because it's just super duper easy. It's very user friendly. So I can log on to my FreshBooks dashboard and see exactly what how my business is doing. I can see when my invoices are going to be sent out. I can see what invoices are past due, who I need to follow up with, all of that good stuff. So I love FreshBooks. It allows me, I can take a picture of my receipt, upload it right into FreshBooks, and it'll track all of my expenses for me. And to be honest, my favorite part about FreshBooks though is that if I have a question or if I need help with anything, I can just call and talk to a real person. I know a lot of these invoicing softwares, you got to call and deal with these automated systems. So FreshBooks, somebody picks up super quick and I get to talk to a live person and get help on what I'm looking for. So I definitely suggest that for all of you guys that are trying to get better with your expenses, find a new invoicing solution, or just find a better way to run your business on the back end. Definitely check out FreshBooks for free for 30 days by just going on www.gofreshbooks.com/blackgirlboss and enter Black Girl Boss Podcast in the How Did You Hear About Us section. So one more time, go to www.gofreshbooks.com/blackgirlboss. Let's start the show.
Work hard for what you want in life.
You work hard for what you want in life.
That your word is your bond, that you do what you say you're going to do.
That your word is your bond, and you do what you say.
That you treat people with dignity and respect.
That you treat people with respect.
Reach of your dreams and your willingness to work hard.
The strength of your dreams and your willingness to work for them.
Work hard.
Work hard.
Work hard. Work hard. Work hard. Work hard.
Hey guys, it's Tatum, your host of the Black Girl Boss Podcast. Welcome to 2018. This is the first podcast of the year. I am super duper excited about today's show. I'm just excited in general because a new year just brings that sense of just starting over, that sense of just a clear blank slate for you to be able to write whatever story you want in this new year. So for any of you guys who kind of feel like, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to be another one of those people who are talking about new year, new me, etc. Don't be afraid to declare and decree some amazing things in your 2018. Don't be afraid to be like, I'm going to do better this year. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Don't be afraid or feel like you can't be excited. So I just want to say happy new year again. So for all of our people who believe in some Southern traditions, I hope you're having your greens today, your black eyed peas. For y'all that have no idea what I'm talking about, a lot of Southern black people say that it's good luck to eat your black eyed peas on New Year's, and you have to eat your greens so that you can make a lot of money. So my grandmother is an older Southern woman from South Carolina, so she would not let me get through this day without eating greens or black eyed peas. So I'm excited about going to her house and just talking to her and spending some time with the family before everybody just gets back into their, hustle and bustle of the year. So today on the podcast, you guys, we are going to be talking about creating the discipline to succeed. So a lot of times we make these goals, we make these resolutions, we have this excitement about the new year, and we have all of these things that we're declaring and decreeing, but we don't necessarily know how to make these things happen. So it's great that you have these goals, but we know that in order for us to do something different or to create something better this year, we have to do something different than we did last year. And a lot of times the difference between the people who make things happen and the people who don't is discipline. It's not motivation, because motivation is temporary, but a lot of times it's just that discipline. Discipline is what kicks in when motivation wears off. Discipline is what allows you to do things even though you just don't feel like it. You know what I mean? So one thing that I want us to do in 2018, in the year of the boss up, is to boss up in our discipline. And that's what we're going to be talking about on today's episode. Now, before we get into some of the main points of today, I wanted to talk to you guys about what's coming new in 2018 for the Black Girl Boss podcast. So there's so many new things happening this year. I'm excited about the transition that the podcast, the brand is making. I'm excited about all the great feedback that we've gotten in 2017 from you guys about how this podcast has really like changed your life and changed your businesses. So I'm just so grateful for that. And I'm excited about what's to come this year. So what's new in 2018 for the Black Girl Boss podcast? First, we have Black Girl Boss ambassadors. So I'm going to be reaching out to everybody who applied to be an ambassador this week and let you know that we're excited to have you on board. I'm definitely excited to have just a squad, a tribe of Black Girl Bosses who are going to be a part of our family. So we're going to have ambassadors this year. The next thing is we have a new website. So go to www.blackgirlbosses.com and check out our new website. I redid the website and I wanted to change it around a little bit so that it can be another resource for you guys, not just a place where we talk about the podcast, but a place where our listeners can go and get resources. So there's some new stuff on the website. So one, we have the Ask a Boss tab. So we definitely last year we kind of got away from it throughout the end of the year, but I'm going to be bringing that same format back of questions and wins of the week. So on the website, you can actually just enter your question right there. It's a link once you click that tab, and you can ask a question anonymously, or you can sign your name. So that way, when it comes to the episodes, I can just go right there, answer your questions, and I'll respond to your question with the episode that is on. So hopefully we get a lot of questions, and I may not be able to answer all of them on each episode. So once you ask your questions, I'll respond and let you know what episode to check it out on. What else? Oh, the bookshelf. So I always give you guys book suggestions all the time, and you guys always ask me. And sometimes when, let's say somebody is just found out about the podcast and they're listening to old episodes, and they may send me like a DM or something on Instagram, like, hey, what was that book in episode 37 that you were talking about? And to be honest, I really just don't remember. I never really remember. So I decided to do a bookshelf on the website. So you're able, any book that we mention on the podcast, I'm going to put up there so that you can be able to buy it, check it out, learn more about it, and I won't forget. So, so check out the bookshelf. There's some books up there already. Let me pull it up, actually. I have, some of my favorite books that I mentioned last year were Fervent. That book is up there. The Power of Broke, Soar by T.D. Jakes, and a book called The Power of Habit that I mentioned last year, but I'm actually going to mention again on this episode. You can go right on the website and check out those books, and it's a little Amazon link on there as well, so you can purchase it straight from the website too. Next, the wins of the week. So you can also go on our website and be able to submit your wins of the week. It's going to send me an email so that I can be able to read your wins of the week right here on the show. The next new thing that's coming for us is a YouTube channel. So the YouTube channel is going to be under Tatum Tamia. I'm going to be recording myself recording the podcast so that I can load these up to the YouTube channel and provide some other really fun content for you guys as well. So stay tuned for that. One thing I'm really, really excited about though, y'all, in 2018 are mini-sodes. So I'm going to be doing a mini-sode every single week. So that means that's a whole nother episode in addition to the Monday episodes that you guys are going to get. So with the mini-sodes are going to be very strictly business. And the main episodes, we talk about a lot. We talk about God. We talk about relationships. We talk about highs and lows of business. Like we talk about a lot on a normal episodes. And a lot of times they aren't always just straight business specific. So I wanted to give you guys an additional episode each week that's pretty much like a business training. So it's going to be very specific on a business topic where you guys need to come prepared to listen to those episodes with your pen and paper, really taking notes, because I wanted to do something that was very like masterclass style. So you knew if I listen to this episode, I'm going to leave with how to make my marketing better in 2018. You know what I mean? So every week, every Wednesday, more specifically, will be a mini-sode of the podcast. Next, so I'm also going to be recording the show live on social media as well this year. So you can catch the show recordings at 12 p.m. on my Facebook page, Tatum Tamia. So this is not my personal page. So if you have to add me as a friend, you're at the wrong page. This is they call them fan pages. So definitely go to facebook.com/Tatum Tamia, like the page, and I haven't decided what day yet. I'll keep y'all posted on what day, but I'm going to be recording the show live at 12 p.m. on some day. I think maybe Wednesdays we're going to do this. So let's say Wednesdays live at 12 p.m. We're going to be, you can watch the show live. What else is going to be new? Oh, so we're going to have a new name in 2018. This is kind of bittersweet. The reason why there's going to be a name change, there's a name that I have in mind, but I've really been praying and fasting and being still and about this for some months now. So I have something in mind, but I kind of want you guys to be a part of the process. You know, you guys help make the Black Girl Boss podcast what it is. So as we go through this kind of rebrand and changing the name, I definitely want you guys to be a part of it. So there are a few reasons why the name is going to be changed. The first thing is for trademark purposes, because, and this is a major lesson for you guys that's listening about trademarks. So as y'all know, our OGs, our Black Girl Boss OGs know, we had an issue with our Instagram page it was like the beginning of last year with the Girl Boss brand by Sophia Omaroso, who's the founder of the clothing company Nasty Gal. And, so it was an issue on Instagram because of Girl Boss versus Black Girl Boss. It was like a trademark dispute. So we were able to dispute it as far as Instagram goes and got our page back. But now I was trying to trademark Black Girl Boss. And so I thought that if you have because it's obviously a difference, like black is an adjective, the brands are different. I thought that was fine, but come to find out, legally, one word, despite how I feel about it, despite how descriptive that word may be, it isn't enough to differentiate the two. And the brands are similar as far as entrepreneurship goes. So we're going to have to make that adjustment, but I'm okay with it because this podcast is way more than just a name. I'm not necessarily married to the name. I'm married to the purpose. I'm married to the vision. I'm married to the impact that we're able to make in our listeners' lives. So I want to make this a fun thing. So I'm definitely going to be soliciting you guys' help to help change the name of the show. And I know some of you guys may be like, oh my God, that's so crazy. I promise y'all, I'm not upset about this. You know, when I first found out about this, which was some months ago, so I've known this for a while, that the name was going to have to be changed in order for us to really grow to the magnitude that I want to grow. One thing when I was praying on this that God told me is, God said to me, I'm going to make your name great. And a trademark doesn't have anything to do with that. So that statement really just brings me a sense of peace that, like he said, he's going to make my name great. So the name of the podcast doesn't really matter. And that's actually in the Bible. That's a promise that is a promise to all of us, you know. And I think it's in Genesis, God says that he's going to make our name great. So for you guys who may be kind of married to a name of a business or a name of a brand or a name of anything that's not yours, not your personal name, never get married to it too much, because again, he's going to make your name great. And a trademark, a copyright, a business, whatever, has nothing to do with that. But also to you guys, if you're forming businesses, definitely double check these things. I did double check the trademark for the podcast name prior to starting the podcast. I was just under the impression that it would be okay by having Black Girl Boss instead of the other one. But hey, I'm not a lawyer, right? So that's just one of those things where you have to decide what you're going to you're going to have to decide like if you're going to spend the time and money to fight certain things, or if you're going to just let it go. So I'm sharing this with you guys because I don't want you to make, I don't even really call it a mistake, but I don't want you to be naive about what can happen when it comes to trademarks. Trademarks are expensive. So I do understand why a lot of people may not go that route. I mean, I paid $800 to start the trademark process for the Black Girl Boss name, and now probably going to have to change the name. So in essence, that's $800 that just went down the drain. I'm not really tripping off of that because God is going to always increase me and provide for me. So if I can spend $800, I'm definitely going to get it back tenfold. So I'm not worried about that. However, I'm sharing this with you guys so you can just take heed to it and use this as a part of your business process. I know because we're in the start of a new year, a lot of you guys may be starting new businesses. So definitely do some research on trademarks, do some research on who has your business name, just do your due diligence, seek out the consultation at the very least of an attorney when it comes to picking a name, just to kind of see what you can and can't do with it. So anyway, let's really get into today's topics. That's all of the updates that I got for you guys that's going to be happening in 2018. But yeah, let's get into today's topic of creating the discipline to succeed. So the first thing I wanted to talk about with this is when you're trying to create discipline, you have to understand that you don't break habits, you create new ones. Discipline comes from just building up that muscle memory. You know, I like to use my dance background as an example. I danced my whole life up until maybe a couple of years ago. And once I learned a routine and I did it enough, I did the choreography enough times, it was muscle memory at that point. I may not be consciously thinking about what move comes next. It just comes because I've done it so many times. I built up that muscle memory. So that's how you are able to create new habits in your life. So if one thing that you wanted to do is be more committed to building your business while you have your 9 to 5, you have to really put yourself on a drill sergeant schedule and get used to it and build it up. It takes more than one day. You know, I mean, the Bible even says, though, to take things one day at a time. So just focus on after you create your schedule, focus on doing that schedule every single day. So don't be like, oh, I'm going to do this for a week. Don't think about tomorrow. Worry about today. So just say, this is my schedule. Today, I'm going to follow the schedule. And then the next day, say, today, I'm going to follow the schedule. And then the next day, say, today, I'm going to follow the schedule. And then eventually you'll get to 30 days or 31 days, or 45 days or 60 days. And eventually you're not even thinking about it. You just got this flow going on, because you created that muscle memory when it came to your schedule. So whatever habit that you're trying to form, you have to really practice that. So the book reference for that is The Power of Habit. Who is it by? Let me figure out who is by really quick. It's called, hold on guys. Okay, it's called The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business, and it's by Charles Doug. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's on our website, blackgirlbosses.com, under resources. So you'll see it on our bookshelf to learn more about it. But yes, understand the power of habit and understand that in order to create discipline, you have to be more disciplined in your habits. So one thing for me this year, I want to become more disciplined in, of course, is like my get snatched for my wedding in 2019, right? So I want to be very disciplined and my healthy lifestyle, because it's something I didn't do a good job of in 2017. So I created like a schedule. I'm going to talk about routines in another one of these points. But I created a new schedule to where I got used to like kind of waking up and going to my boot camp in the mornings, but my problem is my eating habits. And we know food is 90, well, maybe a little less than 90, but food is a significant part of a healthy lifestyle. So I put into my schedule, like, okay, you're going to meal prep on these days. So when you make your grocery list, you need to go to the grocery store on this day. You need to carve out your schedule to meal prep for the week on this day. Because I know knowing myself, I know if you give me time to think, or if I get hungry enough, I'm not going to make a good food choice. But if I put myself on a schedule, or if I prepare my food, then I'm going to eat it. And if I put myself on a schedule of when I'm going to eat it, I'm going to be a lot better at eating healthy, because if I get too hungry again, I'm going to go to the Jamaican spot around the corner. I'm not going to be worried about no green juice, because I'm hungry. So again, putting myself on a schedule is one of my things for this year, to kind of get into the habit of eating healthy. And I know that as I do it, I'm going to start to feel better. I'm going to start to see results, and that's going to kind of motivate me to keep taking it day by day. But that's something I'm working on within myself. So whatever it is, whatever your goal is, or goals are for 2018, figure out how you can create better habits so that you can set yourself up for success in those goals. Next is create an environment that's conducive for success. You got to create a vibe that's going to work for you. One of the reasons why I didn't really like working at home a lot of the times is because my dog is very bougie, as my friend Tish would say. So he's small too. So he has to go out every couple hours. If he's not getting attention, he's going to be barking at me. He's going to be doing the most. Like, working at home is not like an environment. I have to lock myself in my room to get work done. So I had to find another environment for me to be productive. So you have to set the mood that's going to be conducive for your success. So if you are balancing a 9-to-5 with your business, when you get home from work, have your little section where it's set up for you to work on your business. Have your candle popping, have your music playing, whatever it is that you need to get work done. Create that environment. Whatever your goal is, that you're trying to accomplish, create that environment that puts you in the right mental space. So staying on the working out example, you listen to certain songs when you're working out. Now, don't judge me, y'all, but I like the Yin Yang Twins Pandora Station. Now, I know y'all probably like, what? But no, seriously, I like the Yin Yang Twin Station on Pandora. I don't know why, but they be playing some hits, okay? So that station is something that I listen to if I want to get pumped up to work out. There's certain podcasts that I listen to that trigger my business mind and start rolling. So I like to listen to those before I start working, because it puts me in that mindset. Or if I'm fasting, or if I'm spending time with God, I worship. I listen to what am I trying to say? I listen to gospel music so that I can be able to get into that spirit of worship, that spirit of prayer, etc. So you got to create that vibe and create that environment for you that's going to allow you to put yourself in the mental space that you need to be in to reach those goals. Number 3, get a routine together. A lot of times we try to do list ourselves to death, but get a routine together. That's where that schedule comes in. That's where we're talking about that muscle memory. Get a routine. One of my things this year that God was sharing with me is I don't need to do more in business, meaning I don't need to work harder as far as business goes. I need to tighten up spiritually. I know I talked about this on the last episode as well. So what I did was really created a routine for me to do that. So my routine now is I don't even start working on my business until noon. All morning, I wake up at 5. My wake up time don't change. I wake up at 5. It's some changes with my boot camp, so I'm going to have to kind of figure out what I'm going to do as far as the workout part goes. But I'm up at 5. So from 5 to 12, at some point I have to either work out and pray, or just pray, worship, be quiet, be still, journal, spend time with God, listen, all of those things. So that watch different sermons online, like I like to do, stuff like that, so that I can make sure before I even get to the business part, I'm at a certain point. my spiritual senses are high. My level of discernment is high. I may have heard something from God that I didn't even plan on doing that day, but now I'm able to better set myself up for what it is I'm working on, because now I have like some insider information. You know what I mean? So, or I'm able to be obedient with something that I heard, and really get things done more so than whatever I had planned originally. So get some type of routine. And then my evening routine will be preparation for the next day. If you are creating your to-do list, or if you are creating what you're going to do that day, the day of, then you're already behind. So you have to create your list or your schedule for the next day, or whatever it is that you need to accomplish the day before, so that you can be able to pick it up and hit the ground running the next day. So that's something that I'm going to be doing in the evenings. My evening routine is heavily based off of, okay, Tatum, what do we need to do tomorrow to meet these weekly goals? What do we need to do tomorrow to meet these monthly, quarterly, yearly goals? So that's what I'm going to be doing in the evening, but it's a routine. It's a routine that's going to set me up to reach my 2018 goals. And it's a routine that's going to eventually become a whole lot easier for me to do once I build up that muscle memory. So the same thing for you. What kind of routine can you create to get away from the to-do list? Because as an entrepreneur, the to-do lists are never going to end. Never. There's always something to do. So what type of routine can you create to increase your productivity? Maybe you can wake up and spend some time with God before you even go into your 9 to 5 to put yourself in a better state, mental space. Maybe when you come home, you can create a routine of lighting some candles, listening to music, cooking while you cook dinner, and just vibe out and relax before you even start working on your business. That way, by the time it's time to get down to work, you're not still stressed about the things that happen during your 9 to 5 that day. Maybe in the evening, it can be your quiet time. It can be your you time. For a couple hours, you are unavailable to the world, and you're solely focusing on your well-being. So I don't know what routine that you need to create for your goals, but those are some ideas and some things that I think that you should do so that you can start creating that discipline to succeed. Next, you have to treat your time like you treat your money. Like, you have to budget it accordingly so that you know where to give it out. Like, look at when it comes to however many hours you have in a day, you have to prioritize. I always say that it's not about balancing your goals with your business or your job with your family or whatever. It's not about balance. It's about priorities. And so you have to look at the time that you have in a day. You got 24 hours. You got to look at those goals that you have, and you have to look at those responsibilities. So it's the same thing as looking at expenses. You have to really look at it and figure out how are you going to allocate. So it's 24 hours in a day. In order for you to, a study show, in order for you to be mentally in a good place and a good amount of sleep is about 8 hours. So we can automatically, let me get my calculator out actually. Let me see. So it's 24 hours in a day, 8 hours of sleep. So you got 16 hours left. 8 hours sleep, 16 hours left. So then let's say you're spending 8 hours at work. Let's say 10 hours, 1 hour to commute to and from. So 16 minus 10. That's 6 hours left in a day. So now you have to allocate those 6 hours to something. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of things in your life that's fighting for those 6 hours. It's probably your boyfriend, your family, your friends, your business, your goals. All of this stuff is probably fighting for those 6 hours. So now you have to really look at your priorities and figure out where that's going to go. You know what I mean? So say you're going to spend an hour of just time to yourself. Because like I said, you shouldn't just come home from work and go right to your business. So let's take away another hour to kind of to create some type of routine to decompress from the workday before you do anything else. So now we're at 5 hours. So now you have to dedicate these 5 hours to something. So this is how you have to break it down, you guys, in order for you to create that discipline. So look at your goals list and look at your responsibilities. Your friends might have to take a L while you're trying to build this business. And I'm not saying take a L as a sense of you just cut them off, but they have to be a little bit understanding of the fact that you may not have as much idle time to just, text or talk about what's going on a shade room, because you have to build a business. So look at your time like you look at a budget. You got 24 hours every single day. How are you going to divide that up into your day? How are you going to divide that up into your schedule? How are you going to divide that up into a routine? How are you going to divide that up to create better habits? So really look at that, you guys, when it comes to those goals that you have this year, so that by the time this year is over, you can look back and be like, man, in 2018, I did everything that I set out to do. In 2018, it was the best year of my life. In 2018, my business grew to new heights. My waist got snatched. My skin is clear. My edges are intact. I fell in love, like whatever. 2018 is your year, but it's going to take some discipline. And in order for you to get disciplined, you're going to have to be intentional about it. So I wanted to give you kind of like a glimpse, a little bit into my 2018 schedule, so you can kind of see what it is that I'm talking about. So one thing I did in 2017 when I started my consulting business was that I would have set times of the day that I took calls. So most of my client calls were like in the evenings, but then I'll take like discovery calls during the day. I didn't really work on the weekends like that. And I had a self-care day on Wednesday. So that's pretty much was my 2017 like schedule. Well, 2017 post leaving my job schedule. My 2017 schedule while having a job was ridiculous. But so this year though, I realized that, so I'm the type of person where I have to be zoned into what I'm doing. I don't like noise. I don't like, when I'm working on my business, I don't like to listen to music like that. I need peace and quiet so that I can be able to think. But what happens, and once I get into a flow of like working and productivity and getting things done, once it's interrupted, it's hard for me to get back into the zone. So one thing I had to do this year was to figure out, how am I going to do my schedule to where I have more focused times? Because when you're in a service-based business and you have things that you may have to do for your clients, or you have calls that you have with your clients, there are times where you're serving other people. But in order for me to reach my goals, I still have to work on growing my business while I'm helping other people with theirs. So I have to be very intentional about creating spaces and environments and times in my schedule where it's all about my goals and growing my business uninterrupted. So I set up my schedule in 2018 to where there's only 3 days a week where I'm even accepting calls. So my schedule is blocked off for all of those other days. So I think it's only 2 more days because I don't work on the weekends. The weekends is when I spend time with my family, my fiance, whatever it is. If I don't feel like doing anything, then that's just my weekend schedule. But I don't work on the weekends. So only having calls 3 days a week allows me to have 2 full days where I'm totally focused on the growth of my business and totally focused on whatever project it is that I have at hand. Now, there may be one of those days where I don't have any calls scheduled, but because I have these days blocked off where it's guaranteed that I won't have any interruptions that day, I can just get to work. I'm creating an environment that's conducive for me to be productive. And then on those other days, I can plan things that's okay if I get interrupted. So let's say I'm redoing the Black Girl Boss website. That's something I can do while being interrupted because it doesn't require much strategic thinking. It's more so just being creative and making it look good. But the things that really require me to zone in and give my all on has to be on those days. I'm also in school. So I know that on those days where I don't have any calls, I need to get my homework for school done. I'm planning a wedding. So that's my wedding stuff I'm not doing that during the week. I refuse to let that, interrupt my growth in business. So I said in my 2018 schedule, my wedding planning stuff is going to happen on the weekend, and I'm planning a destination wedding specifically so that it's not as much work as it would be planning a wedding in the States. So that's kind of my thought process when it comes to how I'm doing 2018 for myself, how I'm creating those habits. My routine in the morning, so that's more so of like weekly. So my routine in the morning is spiritual. So wake up 5 a.m., work out, watch a sermon, because it's kind of hard for me, to be honest, to just read the Bible, because my mind moves too fast. So it doesn't really work like that. So I have to kind of start with watching a sermon. So watching a sermon that has my attention, I'm taking notes. Then I'm writing down scripture references throughout that. So then I can take what I'm seeing and or what scripture references I have, and then I can go open my Bible, read it, write down, how I feel about it, what that means to me. I write out my prayers to God. I pray. I sit still in my little war room in my closet, sit still and just try to hear from God, and then write down the things that I hear. Like, all of these things is strengthening my spiritual side. So by the time I even start working on my business, my discernment is higher. My spiritual ears are more tuned. I have a better idea of what I'm doing that day. So that's more so of daily. And then I can just pick up. I told y'all in the evenings is more preparation. So then I can pick up whatever list I made for myself to do that day, and then knock that out, and just keep it moving. So each day is already prepared. I'm creating that environment, like I said, uninterrupted time where I can work on my business. I'm carving out a morning routine so that I can reach my spiritual goals. I'm carving out an evening routine so that I can make sure that I'm still productive. I'm making time on the weekends to plan my wedding so that I can make sure my business is still going strong during the week, but I'm not neglecting my responsibility of planning a wedding by doing those things on the weekends only. So this is my thought process behind how I create discipline habits. And I know for me personally too, I can't live with the fact if I don't accomplish something. I'm a very good executor. I can't live with not getting something done that I said I'm gonna do. I'm real big on integrity. I don't like to say I'm gonna do things and not do it. It sincerely bothers me. I don't like to say I'm gonna do something and not do it. And that includes goals. One of the things for 2017 for me was to write a book, and I literally finished my book on the day before New Year's Eve. So I finished my book on December 30th at like maybe 9:00 p.m. I had maybe a day left to get that done, because that's something that I wanted to do last year. That's something I said I was going to do. That's something that was very hard for me to get done, but I did it because I knew if the clock struck 12 on New Year's Day and that book was not done, I would be so hurt. But that's just how I am. A lot of people aren't built that way. A lot of people are able to just, push those 2017 goals back to 2018. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, with me, I would feel horrible. So for those of you who may not have kind of that internal accountability system, you have to create these discipline habits and create a structure that's going to allow you to accomplish these goals in a way that you can really break these things down so that you know what it is that you're supposed to be doing every single day. Because a lot of you may be like, well, Tatum, I hear you, but how do I know what even needs to go into my routine? Or how do I know what I need to even do every day? I know what I want to get done this year, but how do I break that down so that I can create this schedule and these habits, etc.? And so my answer to that would be, you have to work backwards. So you have a goal. Let's use a book, for example. So you say that you want to write a book before the year is over. Let's say your book is 100,000 words. So we got 100,000 words. You have a year to get this done. So you just divide that 100,000 by 12. You get 8,333. So you know that you need to write 8,333 words a month. So then let's divide that by 4, because it's 4 weeks in a year. You need to write 2,083 words a week. Let's divide that again by days, 7 days in a week. But okay, let's say you don't even work on a weekend, so 5 days. So every day you need to write 416 words. So that's what your day looks like. So if your yearly goal is to write a book, and your book is going to be 100,000 words, then every single day you need to carve out time to write 416 words in that book. It's as simple as that. You just take the big goal and you break it down. And so then you know what your weekly goals are. You know what your monthly goals are. You can schedule like quarterly checkpoints to kind of see where your progress is on each goal. And then even let's say you want to get the book done in 6 months and not 12, just redo the math so that it fits that. So that's how you really break it down. And once you get that idea, it makes it a lot more realistic and it makes it a lot easier to accomplish because you know exactly what you need to do. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to share with you guys was some tools that I use to kind of keep my productivity up. So I use Trello and Asana. We've talked about a lot of these before. Trello and Asana are like productivity tools. So you can put like to-do lists, you can write your goals in there, you can do projects in there, etc. So check that out. There's in the show notes, these will be there, so you'll be able to check these things out. I use Google Calendar a lot. If anybody wants to talk to me, it needs to be on my calendar. I don't even care if it's can we talk for 5 minutes? I'm very big on send me a calendar invite. That way I can manage my time. I use Acuity to schedule meetings, etc., with like potential clients and current clients. So that's going to be there. Also, I use the mess out my do not disturb feature on my phone. Like, I don't have any post notifications on my phone for social media. So the only way I see anything that's going on social media is if I actually go on there, because I don't want to get like such and such commented on your picture that I'm stopping what I'm doing to go see what they said. So that's kind of a way I trick myself as well to stay productive. Yeah, so that's what I have for the tool. So definitely check out the show notes so you can look at those to see if any of those will help you to creating those disciplined habits in 2018. Let's take a break and then I'm going to come back and answer a question. This episode of the Black Girl Boss podcast is also brought to you by GoDaddy. GoDaddy.com is the world's largest domain name registrar. Domain names aren't all they do, though. They host websites, provide emails, phone numbers, and so much more. I personally use GoDaddy for all of my domain names. I love to buy my domains from GoDaddy because it's easy, they're inexpensive. I can claim multiple versions of that domain name. So let's say for blackgirlbosses.com, I could buy blackgirlbosses.net, .org, .me, .tv, .whatever, just to further protect myself and the brand. So I love GoDaddy. They have a great customer service system. I'm big on using companies who have great customer service because sometimes you just need to call somebody and get help for whatever it is you're looking for. So they have, just like FreshBooks, they have a really, really great customer service team. So I am a huge fan and supporter of GoDaddy personally. But to learn more and to get your online presence started for your business, visit www.trygodaddy.com/blackgirlboss. Again, that's trygodaddy.com/blackgirlboss. Let's get back to the show. So I am back with questions. So you guys, if you want to submit a question to be answered on the show, go online, www.blackgirlbosses.com, click the Ask a Boss link and submit your question so that I can answer it here on the show. So the first question is, how do you know what to file your business under? LLC, S Corp, etc. So first things first, definitely consult a lawyer. A lawyer is the best person to talk to about this because they understand the different legalities behind business structures. I would also suggest that you consult an accountant because a lot of these are different as far as how you file taxes. So definitely ask those to professionals so that you know what you're getting yourself into and you're able to make the best decision. Now, I can just tell you that most people that I know and me personally use LLC because of the limited liability. So what that means is if somebody sues your business, God forbid, you aren't personally liable in your own assets to settle that lawsuit. So limited liability company is a structure that gives a lot of protection for the owner. That was the reason why I chose LLC as opposed to the other ones. But I definitely say search for talk to a lawyer, talk to an accountant, search and do your own research so that you can figure out what's best for your business. Next, is it tacky or inappropriate? Tacky, that's funny. Is it tacky or inappropriate to approach people for assistance or free services, space, or collaboration? How does a person gain willing partnerships to help progress the business? So let's start with the first question. Is it tacky or inappropriate to approach people for assistance or free services? It depends. It definitely depends on, one, the way that you approach. If you slide in somebody's DMs like, hey girl, can I use your space for free? Or, something like that is definitely inappropriate and tacky. And also, whenever you want somebody to do something for free, especially when it comes to your question about how do you gain willing partnerships, you always have to think about the what's in it for me factor. People aren't going to just do something for free off the sake of doing it for free. Like, you have to really prove why whatever it is that you're bringing to them is valuable aside from money. So let's say you are let's say you are a designer or something and you wanted to have a fashion show at somebody's space or whatever. Asking somebody to, no, that's a bad example. What's a good example of this? Let's say you are in charge of an organization that was, let's say you had an organization for entrepreneurs and you wanted to do an event or a mixer or a networking event or something at somebody's space. So you approach that person and you want the space to be for free. You want them to let you use the space for free. A good sell for that is like, hey, I'm bringing in a lot of business owners who have events to your space. So then we can use you guys as a sponsor. So don't ask them like, hey, can you give us this space for free? Ask them, can they sponsor their space or sponsor your event with their space? And then let them know, like, I'm going to be bringing other business owners in here who throw events, and we can market your space as the space to be for them to have their events there as well. So in essence, you may not be paying them, but you're bringing them the opportunity to get new business through your event. So that's kind of a win-win situation. So that's what you have to do. You have to find the win-win in the situation before you approach people for free stuff. And also understand that when you're asking for free services, that you're asking for people's time and expertise that just should not be free. I know nobody really asks me for free services. Thank you. But that's not something I would ever do. There is no win-win for me to give anybody else free services. Somebody may say, hey, can I give you this, and in exchange you help me form my business? I'm not really doing that. So when it comes to services, that's really people's time and expertise. So be careful with that. It's probably a lot easier for people to sponsor things like a space or sponsor things like like products or something like that. But again, even with the collaboration, really just look for the what's in it for me as far as what's in it for them, and find that win-win before you approach that person. It's not tacky or inappropriate if you approach it that way and you approach it in a professional manner. So setting up a phone call through whatever their process is, or sending an email, not sliding their DMs or comment and let's connect under one of their pictures or something like that. That's the best way to go about it. Okay, next question. I am working a 9 to 5, well, really a 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sheesh, 7 days a week, girl. How do I execute? In 2018, I plan on leaving this job for sure. I started my company in 2017 September 2017 and don't have any clients. So first of all, I want to say, change your mindset as far as I started my company in September 2017 and don't have any clients. That was only a couple months ago. See, October, November, December, January. That was 4 months ago. It's okay. Don't let how you see anybody else's business rush you into thinking that you were supposed to start your business and then have all of these clients. Like, there's time that it takes time to actually come up with, let's say, the process of how you're going to get clients, developing the marketing so that you can funnel people into your business. So definitely don't think that you're supposed to have clients right away because you just started your business. You probably need to spend just some time on coming up with the right systems and the right process, the right marketing, so that you can get clients in your business. So I can definitely help you with that. So don't hesitate to reach out to me personally about that. But yeah, don't beat yourself up because you don't have clients yet. It's okay. Now, to your first question about this job, 7 days a week, I will refer to the first half of this podcast, but really you have to treat your time like your money for real and really budget it to where it needs to go so that you can be able to leave that job. You have to really just figure this out. I'm a firm believer in execution over excuses. So yeah, you do have a trying schedule, but where can you find time to grow your business? Like where it may be 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So what are you doing? Let's say, what time do you wake up? Can you wake up a little bit earlier to do work on your business? Can you, I'm sure there's a break in this 12 hours somewhere. On your break, can you do, let's say, some research for your business? When you get home after you decompress from the day, what can you do before you go to bed? So really look at your schedule. Don't get caught up in the crazy work schedule, but look at the rest of the time that you have left as an opportunity for you to execute better on your business. I definitely understand this because when I know you guys hear a lot about my schedule after leaving my 9 to 5, but when I had my 9 to 5, I worked from maybe like 8 to 5. And then I was doing my youth program. So I had to like leave work and go straight to the school and then go from the school home and then still build my business. You know what I mean? And I was also cleaning buildings so that I can be able to pay for my business coach at the time and other business expenses. So I would go from the school. Sometimes I would go from the school to the building that I cleaned back home. That was like a 16-hour day. And then still had to work on my business. So it was a lot for me as well, but it's possible. I was very determined to leave my job. So the same thing for you. We know what time you work. We know what time you, let's say, have to get up and commute to work, but look at the rest of the time and look at it as opportunities for you to budget and allocate those hours to something for your business. So definitely refer back to the beginning of this podcast because creating those habits and that schedule and that muscle memory and those routines is really going to help you get to your goal. Next. I am 24 years old and I am a teacher that hopes to open my own daycare facility in my community. That's awesome. I'm gaining experience and knowledge first, but I want to find the right person to learn from. My question is, how do I find a mentor or someone who is willing to teach you about the business that you want to pursue? So, first of all, definitely find the people first. So who is somebody that you admire in your field that you want to learn from? Who is or what daycare facilities is prevalent in your community that you want to learn from? So what I would do is I will offer to do something for them for free. Like, hey, do you need help? Do you need like some extra hands on deck on the weekends? Can I come and volunteer at your facility on the weekends? And while you're there, pay attention to every single thing that's going on. Then you're providing value to the facility. You're providing value to that person because you're working. And because you're providing value, now you can ask them questions. You can say, hey, I love this place. It is so beautiful. Like, how did you get this up and running? And let them talk to you. Like, oh man, a great book. Oh, I should put this on a website too. A great book that I think that you should, and I'm going to put it up there. So check blackgirlbosses.com after you listen to this episode. But the 48 Laws of Power is an excellent book when it comes to dealing with people, as well as How to Win Friends and Influence People. Those two books have really taught me how to get people to do what I want them to do. And a part of that is stroking their egos, right? One of the 48 laws of power is never outshine the master. So when you're in such a situation, so let's say you're volunteering at this place as a way to offer value and to get to know the ropes, you big them up, like you stroke their ego and make them feel good so that they tell you more. So you say things like, man, I cannot believe you were able to create such an amazing facility. Like, I'm just in awe of how great that this place is. Like, the kids are behaving, I don't know, just make it sound good. And they're going to feel all mushy inside, like, oh, thank you so much. And then you just ask them, how did you even get this started? And they're just going to talk. I promise you, when you make people feel good about themselves and then ask the question of what you really want to know, they will just talk and talk and talk because people love talking about themselves. But if you come to somebody and like, hey, can you be my mentor? It kind of sounds like another task. Like I have people ask me to be their mentor a lot, and I just can't because I don't really have the time, and I don't want to take on another mentee and then just be a terrible mentor. You know what I mean? So a lot of times people kind of look at it like, oh, it's just something else for me to do. So if you can't find a person that's willing to just be the mentor part, and to be honest, I think it's even better for you to go and volunteer instead, because then you get to learn things that they may not tell you. Then you get to be observant and kind of see like small things, like the process that parents go through when they come and drop their kids off. That's something small that nobody has to tell you, but you just observe. Or the process of when parents pick their kids up, or the things you get to hear, the things the parents are complaining about, and you can add that into your daycare facility. So instead of finding a mentor, I think the best thing for you to do is to volunteer somewhere, and you will consequently find a mentor there, because whoever you're going to be working with, most likely whoever's in charge there, and then that's when you can use the skills of the 48 laws of power, or the how to win friends and influence people, to help you kind of get that inside information on how they were able to do it. So that is it for the questions, you guys. Definitely go on again on blackgirlbosses.com to submit your questions, and definitely go on there to submit your wins of the week so that we can bring that back as well. Thank you so much for listening to the Black Girl Boss podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Black Girl Bosses. Follow me on Instagram at Tatum Tamia, and I will talk to you guys next week.